My name is Aksik, aka Annika. Welcome to my channel. And here we mostly talk about adult coloring, art materials, and art in general. And it's time for the the most popular video of the month, usually, which is the finished pages. And I have a confession to make. Well, I've mentioned it in my videos this month before several times that I'm kind of pretty slumpy this month, kind of listless and not very inspired, so I've been struggling to get any pages finished. I still have some, but quite few of them. I was kind of debating if to make a video or not, but I thought, well, there's probably enough there to show a bit. None of them I'm super happy about, but I think it's important to also show people that we all have off months and not every work we make comes out great. So let's start with WIP-s, which I have much, because when I'm slumpy like this, the only thing I really usually feel like doing, funnily enough, is just kind of to put random bits of color on the paper in the books, and therefore I have fair bit of pages where there's this bit finished, or just one tiny detail. I'm not going to show you them all, but I'm showing you kind of the main things that I'm consider actually kind of works in progress, and that I plan to start working on hopefully quite soon. And I'm showing you this one first because that's the biggest one, and then afterwards I can probably bring the camera a little bit closer, possibly. It's the huge book called Aventur Fantastic, and the artist is Gustave Ghost, and it's kind of mythology and fantasy themed book. I have only one page finished here, and I have this big WIP that I had it at the end of last month as well, and it has not moved anywhere. So I would really like to get to it, because as you can imagine, I kind of can see the finished page in here, and I think it could come out pretty decent, but nothing is ensured. And the book that I've kind of been playing quite a bit this month, and tiny bit closer, is this book, and I've been just putting random color here constantly. This is I put some satin glazing here, and I tested some watercolor here, and I actually would like to kind of do at least the base of it with watercolors and kind of work on this page. I really like that little scene, and I think I would enjoy just coloring it as a kind of relaxation. I probably won't, well, I don't know how detailed I'm going to go with it, but I will probably enjoy the process. And here I just, kind of, there was already base down here of leftover. I had leftover diluted kind of pastel acrylic tones at some stage, so I had just kind of blended them all together in here, not to waste them. And I did these flowers here with just watercolor on the space, just to show that you can work with watercolor on the acrylic base as well, should you wish to do so. I have this WIP. This actually got pretty far. And somebody is attempting to close the door of the craft room, and the problem is that the door doesn't close very well, so usually people who had quietly tried to close the door to make sure that everything is nice and very quiet setup for me end up banging the door a couple of times in the middle of my video, which I've just learned to live with little quirks like this. It's just, there's some acrylic base here and some acrylic marker base, kind of diluted acrylic markers, I'm kind of learning that I can use them to some extent in this book as a base as well. Although, you know, if I put too much water onto them, they can kind of get a bit leaky. And there was some other pages here that I put some random backgrounds here that just, I just felt like doing something with a gel pen. So I was just sitting and doing the base with a gel pen. This is all I did. And there was, oh, this one is also still a WIP. I haven't moved it anywhere. The plan is, there's many people in here, and I put down different acrylic, washed, diluted acrylic paint bases on the skin in different tones. And I thought about kind of filming bit by bit, doing person by person. It's going to be a page that is obviously going to take a long time. But I thought it might be fun, to kind of try to do it, see if it comes out well or not. Maybe not. We'll see. And yeah, we'll see how this is going to end up. But I don't even know which person I'm going to start with. I obviously won't be able to do all of them like these. I hate when people, especially portrait, is like this on the crease. So, how I'm going to do that, I don't know. The other portrait is the same, like, how to do that properly, not a clue. But, I'll figure something out. I'll probably just do these in a more sketchy way than more detailed faces. Anyways, that's all that is in this book, WIP-s-wise. I really need to speed up the WIP-s. Okay, there's a lot of them, and there's no point. This is, kind of long standing WIP. I just don't get an, I don't know, I put the watercolor down and then lost my vision altogether what I'm going to do with that. Then, typical, a little bit done, forgotten. There was something else I had in this book down. Was it? No, I did. Oh, yeah, but this is a typical. This is the sort of a thing I tend to do when I'm kind of tired or slumpy or listless. I just take one element, or I have one paint out, and then I put that paint in many books into random objects. It's just, all I just want to do is just to put some brush onto paper. I don't want to think. I don't have any inspiration or ideas. I just put a little bit somewhere. Same story, take one marker and do one background like this. No thought, no plan. Thought I had more in this book, but possibly not. Quite possibly not. Then I have this one, all about the dog book. I love it. Has fantastic paper, and I love the fact that it's about dogs, and the art is also lovely. And this work is one of my favorites of pretty much this year. I really like how it came out. And I look at this, shiny. Anyways, I got this far with this page. So the sky, I think, is finished. And I put the base down. I think they were my new Chinese watercolors I showed. And which ones they are. Just one of them. There's different sets, but I don't remember which set it was. But they're essentially come in little wooden boxes like this from Temu. And they have really nice colors. And they also, although they look in the pans like they're going to be very shiny, but they're not as shiny as Kuretake, Gansai Tambi, when you put them down, even in fairly, not super thick now, but fairly thick layers. So yeah, I put the base down, and now I just need to do the pencils, and it won't even take that long. So I'd really like to finish that soon. And then this one, I actually, it's been also like WIP for ages. A little Red Riding Hood page that I started in the Crystal Vogels page. A little book, a very tale book. And the book is just, every time I open it, the binding just comes loose, a little bit more loose. I don't know if you can see here how bad it's getting. And I haven't rough handled it or anything. It's just a really bad glue bound, book, the bookbinding, yeah. And I've done a couple of little elements. I've started with the trees a little bit, but I haven't really gotten anywhere. I need to get to it because it has a potential to be a nice page. I have this WIP that I haven't gone anywhere. I didn't move that one at all in July, and I had actually hoped to do this page in July because I actually kind of like the colors and I like the concept here, where I'm going with it. And my weakness for dragons is mighty. I just love this dragon. But yeah, eventually, hopefully, I'll get there. And then there's in this book, okay, I also kind of did some things in this one in my setting glazing videos, kind of like demonstration wise, some water-based markers and pencils and stuff. But I'm not even sure if I'm going to consider it. I don't know. Maybe I will go in eventually and finish it. But at the moment, it's not pulling me at all. But I am kind of curious about this page. I did test or show you here how you can, on this really rubbish, Amazon UK paper, I used watercolor pencils, and then instead of diluted them with water or alcohol marker, I actually thinned down satin glazing liquid and used satin glazing liquid with the brush to dissolve the watercolor pencil. And this gives really nice surface to work on because it's diluted as well. That kind of now you can put anything onto it. You can put water-based markers onto it, and kind of pretty much blend it, darken or blend it out a little bit with. You can put pencils on it. It's kind of good method to do with the books that don't have great paper. It kind of strengthens the paper. And yeah, if you don't put too much water into satin glazing liquid, it won't go through much. If you do put a fair bit of water, which I did, you do get a bit of ghosting. But then again, on this paper, you get ghosting with pretty much anything because, it's so thin. But I would actually kind of like to now play and maybe finish that page with that method to see, what comes out, because now I'm intrigued, can I get it decent? This is my book of shame. I have a body color here for a couple of months now with Emma. Emma, please, please, please forgive me. I promise I'm going to sit down this weekend, hopefully, and just finish it. I don't even know why I haven't, it's been like this in this stage for ages. For some reason, I just can't get to the mindset that I'm going to go and finish it. So I'll do it. I will. Honestly, I will. And then I put kind of lightened satin glaze down on this spread, which I would love to do. It kind of appeals to me at the moment. I don't know. It would probably take me months before I finish this because I'm slow with spreads. But I like the concept of two unicorns kind of in switched color ways, and it's kind of would like to do is kind of fairly graphic style, not super shaded, but more of a rough shaded style, and in fairly muted colors with some bright accents. So yeah, I haven't really started yet, but I have put the glazing down and lightened the line art, which I wanted to do. And then the last book with my WIP-s, you see how many WIP-s, like it's been 14 minutes and I'm still talking WIP-s here. This is, both of those pages are WIP-s. It's just, this one actually would take very little time to finish, except I don't still know what I want to do with the background. I think one of the reasons I didn't go in and finish, because I actually like the base here and it would be kind of really relaxing and easy page to finish. But probably the reason I haven't gone in yet is that I don't really have a clear idea in my head yet what I'm going to do with the background. And once I know that, once I decide on that, this page will go very fast. And this is just one of the moments that I wanted to put down Kalira watercolor somewhere. Just, just paint something with Kalira watercolor and a metallic watercolors. So I did this page next to it because it was just handy and was next to, available, and I did it. And I'd like to do that scene as well because it's going to be a cute scene, I think. And do you have anything? Oh yeah, I had something else here that I this one. I did this background kind of washing out or diluting acrylic markers with water brush, putting a little bit in, quickly blending it out and so on. And I remember I was kind of droopy or sleepy when I was doing that, and I was actually as bad as I actually dropped my head nodded off for a moment, and I dropped my acrylic marker on here, and so like, okay, that's it for tonight, I'm going to bed. But yeah, that's the month I've had, so not the best one around, but hopefully everything will eventually pass. Oh, and this one, I did the background here. I showed in my coloring blog how I did this blossom, and then I put in the background and I put the watercolor base onto the leaves. So now it pretty much needs to, leaves need to be done, and the little girl and the little bee need to be, they won't take long. They're quite tiny there in the middle. Once again, I don't know what color I'm going to do a dress. Maybe I leave it white, haven't decided yet. Anyways, let's move on now finally to the finished works, of which, like I said, there isn't many, but there are some. So, it's actually better than I expected, mainly because towards the end of the month now, last week or so, I have started kind of gathering a bit of enthusiasm and, momentum, but it's still kind of neither here nor there. Anyways, in this book, for some reason, sometimes I get stuck on certain books, and then I keep, putting things into them and playing with them and adding bits and pieces and starting new pages constantly. And, there's no explanation really why this book. I do like this artist though. I think she's called Jackie Oakley. Pretty sure that was her name. And I really like her line art. She has kind of very, very distinctive and very interesting line art. Yeah, there's, stuff like it's just putting down random skin colors, trying how it would work out with acrylic markers. I basically diluted acrylic markers on these faces. And I would love if she did, Jackie, she's not going to hear that, but I wish she would do another coloring book on more, I don't know, neutral theme or generic theme, or not based on specific characters, maybe, but, kind of maybe period or era, or just, her landscapes and her kind of the way she is creating a scene on the paper is just fantastic. So I really enjoy working with her images. She's very good at also, since she is doing the kind of book that is based on Bridgerton's, the likeness of the character is actually very good, most of the time. Not always, which I will show to you, but most of the time, she gets them pretty right. And I just like her work. I really do. I wish she would do more, but take what you can get. Anyways, here I have first page I did here. Oh, I forgot to show you this. It was also I did this month. It's a WIP stage. I did the background here, and bits and pieces. But this one, the page I finished parts of it. I actually showed you in my coloring vlog. How I did. This is mostly I did this page because I started to practice, how much I can do purely with acrylic markers. See, this book doesn't like water, and doing those kind of a big scenic things just with pencil, it's just not me. And even water-based marker will go through most of the time. So I thought, okay, I'm going to work with acrylic markers, but even then, if you wash out the acrylic marker, you will still often get, if you use too much water, you might get a bit of a bleed through. And most of the time, I'm not really that bothered. But, sometimes, you don't want to get the bleed through there. So I decided to experiment. And the way I did it on this page, and it did work for me, is that I put a kind of flat base down first with acrylic markers. You can see it, the house is especially done that way. And then I added then other acrylic markers on top, and then I washed them. Once that acrylic base was dry, then I started adding shading and washing the acrylic markers out with water brush or water. But because there was now solid acrylic base underneath, nothing leaked anywhere anymore. And then, for example, these blossoms were also based with just acrylic marker, one tone. But then I did the work on top of them with water-based markers, just kind of water-based markers and acrylic markers. Kind of this. And the roses are done the same way, There's just acrylic base and then water-based markers on top, and then I added here and there maybe some extra acrylic marker for contrast. And people are based with acrylic marker, and then there's pencil on top, and I based them. I showed when I was talking about acrylic markers, I showed that these quite rubbish acrylic markers, they have those bullet tips, but I've seen them with the similar ones with brush tips as well. I don't know how good or bad those brush tips are, because obviously I don't have any experience. But they are genuinely rubbish, and that bullet tip is awful. You need to be very gentle when putting it down. But because the acrylic paint is so thin in them, you actually get same effect almost as you would with acrylic wash. And you can put pencil on top pretty well. So the people are all done with these markers in the base and then pencils on top. And then added, a tiny bit of gel pen here and there, just to kind of bring out some highlights and bits and pieces. So yeah, considering, how many things I put onto this page and how much I experimented, it came out all right. I could have worked possibly the ground a bit more and give more color variations and shadows here, but I was kind of running out of steam. It's like, okay, this page is finished now. And there's another page I did here, which, shows to go. If I get stuck on a book, I get stuck on a book. I know it's, oh, you're here. Okay, I did this page. I started by doing the stormy sky, just showing how I wash out the acrylic marker on this paper. Okay, this is awful, this wax paper, because the other side keeps sticking to the pages. Basically, I did the sky and everything in the background except the horse. Okay, I did all by putting down acrylic markers and then kind of doing the shading with them as well on top and washing them out. You can see, how simple the background really is. But the thing is, it is a background, I didn't really want to go super detailed with it. The attention always had to be the front here. So the horse was done with pure pencils, just, a couple of brown pencils. And, there was the frame was, once again, I put down different colors of pastel-y acrylic wash, blended together there. You can see how the color changes. And then I put black marker in between those vines, and then I put a bit of pencil, not too much. I was fairly sparing with the pencil. I put pencil just to kind of give some dimension to those leaves and vines and curlicues. And then both Anthony and Kate, I think are the names, are based with acrylic markers, washed out acrylic markers, and then there's pencils on top. I don't remember anymore what pencils, because I wasn't great at tracking either this month. It's like, was there anything you were good at this month? Nope, not really. And I was kind of a bit, disappointed, because the way usually she gets her faces, like if you look at Queen Charlotte, her face is very similar to the actress's face. But here, Anthony's face, she is not, it's off, the mouth, the nose is all right, but the mouth and the chin line and everything slightly off. I was trying to kind of bring it closer, but I was kind of struggling to get it because of the, the mouth was very strongly and kind of very strong black lines. And I couldn't really get it much better, but at least, they were supposed to look kind of there. It's raining, it's storm, so they're supposed to be dripping wet and bedraggled. So I tried to kind of get that onto the page, that the hair is sticking out in all directions, and the clothes are wet and kind of clingy and droopy. And I think it kind of came out in that way, all right. So yeah, I'm not unhappy with this page. It was fun to do. And I will keep working on this book because I find it pretty good fun. So, Botanical. This is the book that stood on my shelf for ages. And I mean ages. And I didn't touch it. And then suddenly I got all into it. Here I also have some... thought I had some... well, I think this is at the moment my main WIP in here. But I did these 2 pages. Both of them involved a lot of kind of washed out or blended out acrylic markers, directly on the paper. Here, the background. This page is pretty much entirely, except now the frames, which are done with Colera watercolors. These bits here and the key. Everything else is essentially either the background is acrylic marker, just washed out, a bit yellow at the edges, and then I washed it out to the middle in all those areas. And the clouds are also acrylic marker washed out, different, and there's different colors and color variations put in there as well. And the doves I actually did with, and the rose also, or whatever flower it is, I did with gel pens, Langoa gel pens. I washed, there's no pencil here. So I basically, put down bits of color of gel pen, and I washed it out, in areas, and eventually then outlined things with gel pen as well. And I kind of wish that I had done the background either darker yellow or possibly some other color, because the doves get a bit lost in this background. But hey, it's a finished page. And here the castle, this one had Also, yeah, a lot of acrylic marker base, and then this part here, and this part here, all the flowers were based. I think some of them were based with Stabilo pigment pens. The leaves were based with these, and the doves didn't have any base. I think they were just pure pencil, and the flowers also had water-based marker and these, all. But the castle was also based with acrylic, washed out acrylic markers, and then pencils on top, everything. Yeah, here you might have pencils pretty much on top of everything, some bit of shading. The castle has a lot of harmonious pencils on top, which once again I was struggling to kind of, you need to go definitely from dark to light to get a good results there. Other than that, I think it was, came out pretty all right. There's a lot of Colira watercolors here and gel pens. And then in the front here, I used the flowers. I used quite a bit of Woomer pencils, and the leaves are done with light fast pencils. So there's a lot of different pencils on this image. Yeah, I would like to keep working on this book. For some reason, I really enjoy it. The problem is that even a little water-based material, and like this is just a little bit of washing out of acrylic marker, and you can see, I don't know if you can see how warped it gets. It does get very warped. It doesn't go through. It's actually quite nice to work on it with watercolors, but it does warp quite drastically, and it doesn't really smooth itself out easily either. Now, the next one I'm gonna show you, okay, what's on top here is this one. My beloved Kobikovska. This kind of fit with my mood very well. Kind of where I'm kind of cranky or tired or listless, I find Kobikovska is almost a go-to for me. And I did this page. She is based with, I basically took, no, this is where I experimented first time, kind of basing with these watercolors. I don't know if it was that set, possibly not, possibly it was a different set, but the same type of watercolors, kind of Eastern style watercolors. And I did a base with these, and then everything else on top is done with Woomer pencils, which is one of my big positive surprises this month. They are really nice pencils. I only got them because I got them with a good, very good price, and I wouldn't have even gotten them then because I'm fine with pencils. But they had announced just recently then that they are going to do open stock, and I was like, I've heard good things about them. And a pencil, good, well, nicely priced pencil where you can get open stock. And they have said that they are planning this autumn to bring the set from 72 to 90, from what I understand. So I can see myself getting all the extra pencils. Yeah, so basically it's watercolor with Woomer pencils on top. And what can I say? I really enjoy working with Karina Kobikovska images, and those pencils kind of, they are opaque and they go down like butter. Beautiful, beautiful pencils. There are certain tones for me that, I would prefer to have more of, but hopefully, eventually as they keep expanding the line, those colors will come. At the moment, it's a very bright set. But even, if the image is so contemplative and kind of almost sad. Even the brightness of it doesn't really change it. It kind of accentuates it more. You know, it's a bright image, but she's still sad in it. So I think it came out quite nicely. And then, of course, I put on top, this time I used these. They are the metal golden shine markers. A lot of people just call them golden markers. I don't even know what the company name is. I never get it. Flycy. And they're very nice metallic markers, and they give it, you know, if you move it, you can see how things. And you can see also how the warmer pencil finish is. It's pretty waxy finish. Therefore, you know, they're quite similar to Prismacolor finish. But yeah, they're very nice to work with. No complaints whatsoever. And this one is another one now from the same kind of a, there's most of it is, you know, all of it was based with washed out acrylic marker. I think I even demonstrated how I wash out acrylic marker on this specific image, you know, some parts of it. And, you know, eventually I just based everything, except I think her dress. I just did with pencils. And possibly something. No, everything else I think I did base. And then I worked with warmer pencils on top. And, you know, they go down so, because they're so soft, and, you know, you can pretty much blend them so effortlessly, they give pretty fast results. And I actually like this result. I think it came out nice. You know, this summer glow. And she looks, you know, I like that artist work. It's Joey Art, I think, on Etsy. She has a coloring book. I don't know if she sells separate pages, but she has a little color book with portraits. And I like those portraits. They're really interesting and quirky. And here, next one is, I showed this, when did I show it? Last month's kind of WIP-s. I had seen, okay, Jackie from Spearham Studio had, you know, she's leading me astray constantly. She does something that I need to try it out. And she was doing a lot of things about with dissolving gel pens on the page, you know, with a water brush. And I was like, I'm going to try it out. So I did the background here, and, you know, all that inside and the fox, and, you know, the background around the flowers. I did it all with, you know, just diluting, you know, putting down gel pens and blending them out or blending them each other on the page. And then I wasn't really sure where to go from there. So I wasn't really 100% happy, you know, how I wasn't, it's not about the technique. It's just, I wasn't confident, or, you know, I needed to work more with that technique to actually be any good at it. But then I tried to do a couple of flowers here purely with pencils, and then I started doing other flowers with pencils, and then I put some water-based marker quickly down and, you know, do those vines, and eventually I ended up finishing it, and it came out pretty colorful. It's kind of hard to show or photograph because of the shininess of the gel pens, you know, to get it at the angle that it doesn't glisten at you. And, you know, filming during the evenings is pretty much often the only option for me. So sadly, you're going to get this, yeah, those shiny bits here that are kind of interfering with the actual look of the page, which isn't half bad. You know, kind of fun. And yeah, I enjoyed, and it was kind of good page to work when you're slumpy, because you can just come and do, you know, one element. So I did these two flowers, and then I did these three flowers, and then I did the cat, and then I did, you know, something else, you know, like bits and pieces, you know. Okay, you know, one evening didn't feel like doing anything, but I did these three flowers and, you know, like a rabbit. And that's how it went, bit by bit by bit, and eventually it was ready. So it was a good page to kind of take bites out of. And then there's Any Day. I have been trying to work in this book, like do a page a month at least, because I am eventually hoping maybe to finish it. Though I'm kind of getting very tired of this book now. It's a good book, but it's just I've done too many pages with the same character, and it's not good for me. Yeah, I'm not good at that. I like variety, and if it's the same character all over and over and over again, I get a bit so I did this page. I love the chickens. I think I remember Happy Catastrophe, I think, did that page first when she got that book, because she actually does have chickens. And, she really loves chickens. And I think chickens are cool too. So I did the chicken page. It's just alcohol markers. And, oh God, do I remember what pencils? I think there were Marie's pencils here on top. Yeah, there were Marie's pencils. And then, a bunch of gel pens, just, to add a bit of sparkle here and there. And, bits and pieces and a couple of highlights. But yeah, I mostly just left the line art as is. I didn't cover much line here. But it was quick page. I needed that. And then the last page of this month is that I did finally. Now this is kind of literally the last page. I finished it last night, quite late. And it's that Dead Dragon page. What happened here was, when I first got this book, I was, of course, testing paper. And when I was testing paper, I tried paper with one of my favorite methods to create a base in these books, if they are the newer ones, the printed in China ones, is to put down, like, I scribble water-based marker onto the palette or cutting board or whatever, and I pick it up with water brush and I create a base like that. And this would be one of my favorite methods to work here. So I kind of tend to test this method. Can I do it? Is the paper okay? And I usually pick a page at first that isn't, one of my, like, I never took pages I dislike, but isn't one of my biggest favorites. So the base came actually out all right, and then suddenly everybody picked that page to do for the month of June. Everybody was doing that page, and I got totally lost. It's like, Jesus, so many pages, and what new or what good can I do with this page? But I decided now this week that I'm going to finish it. I won't just leave it as a WIP. So here it is. Yeah, I just decided to go with fairly unconventional color scheme, or colors for objects, like the violet grass and the blue bunnies, and kind of to make sure that all the elements stand out and the colors work together. So the foliage isn't exactly traditional either. And yeah, I had a surprisingly good time with it. Once again, pencils here were light fast. I used them quite a lot this month because if I want to go dark, I tend to go and grab pencils from light fast because they're dark, so just amazing, beautiful darks. So I used them, in the skull here. I used them in the grass, in the deepest, darkest shadows. And then Woomer pencils also, or, the second set I used. So it was light fast and Woomer pencils. And then the detailing here was done. I don't know if you can see how it sparkles. Was gel pens, Lango gel pens, the Lango, the Spark gel pens. So, and there's tiny bit of Posca marker here as well. I put into the foliage some highlights, kind of a brighter parts, done with Posca, and a little bit of other Langua gel pens as well, just, a tiny bit of highlight here and there. Tried not to go overboard, but hey, it's me. It's most likely it's going to be pretty punchy if I'm going to do something like this. So it might be a bit of a riot of colors, but I tried to keep it fairly harmonious by keeping kind of green out of it altogether. Just kind of, but sure, I find that it's a busy page, and I think things get a bit lost, and I maybe should have made the skull a little bit lighter, just, the main color, but I went kind of very dark. There was a lot of kind of little black segments, black lines, like segments drawn into the skull, and I kind of wanted to somewhat disguise them, and so I went a bit too dark next to them, so I ended up with a fairly dark skull. But hey, might be weather. Might be dirt. I don't know. Anyways, it's not a bad page, considering, that I've been slumpy. I think this is me kind of starting to kind of emerge a little bit from the slump. So hopefully there was something here for you to see, and something of interest. And thank you very much for watching. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe, comment. This makes YouTube to offer you my videos again and again, and to other people as well. And it really helps my channel, so it would be so much appreciated. So thank you again very much for watching. Hope you're having a great evening or morning or afternoon, whatever the time is in your corner of the world. And bye-bye.